achieve success with Global.Media.com. Every step forward is a new beat to your drum. Achieve success with Global.Media.com. Then celebrate it with or without champagne.
Welcome, Lisa. It's your show, so you do. You take
Oh
over.
my gosh. Yeah, and he is just trying to find any excuse to leave us. Sorry about the late start, folks. Technical difficulties. StreamYard just didn't want to agree with us today, but welcome to another discussion surrounding menopause. Sorry, these screens are distracting. Today, we are extremely blessed to be here with the great coach Bendelise, who is going to teach us all about breathwork and why it's important, especially in this time. So I'm going to give a couple minutes because I know we're running very late. I apologize again. But it's going to be packed with lots of information. So please stay around. You won't be disappointed. Let me just give a quick minute to Annie and Brendelise to introduce themselves, and then we're going to get started. So Annie, you have to come back. Oh my gosh, did he run off?
He's gone.
Why do we have to come back? I'm hiding away.
A very quick introduction.
Okay, I'm doing my microphone. Right. So great to be here as always. I make sure I'm here, Lisa. You know the journey I've made to be here today, honestly. But I'm here. That's the important thing. And I'm still Eddie. I'm in London, amazingly. I'm not in countryside in Cornwall. It's a 6-hour drive, slight 6-hour drive. So to be here, it's always a funny thing. My internet's a bit dodgy, Lisa, because they give me the wrong internet code, but I'm going to fix that. My microphone's up, my computer's on. We're here, and I guess, what can I say? If you want to write a book, let's talk. I can help you write a book, publish your book, and I can help you sell your book. Now, if you want to do events like this on a good day, when I'm at home in my office, everything works perfectly. Otherwise, we take our chances, right? Even my background looks a bit weird today. I don't know why. It normally looks all right. But I'm here to have fun, Lisa. I'm here to have fun. I'm here to, of course, support you in the message that they bring to the world about menopause. So that's enough. That's all I can say for myself. I'm not going to fix my internet, really. So I'll leave you to be, and then I'll come back as necessary.
Okay,
Michelle,
thanks so much for that.
So we see you, Michelle. Glad you're here. There's several Michelle, or there's several versions of Michelle here. What is on our LinkedIn platform? If you're here, my friends, do drop us a comment. Otherwise, we will know you're here. So we'd love to welcome you properly and acknowledge your time that you're spending with us. So if you're here, drop us a comment. I look forward to seeing what you have to say. And if you've got any questions, feel free to ask. On the studio, they put the comments, send me the link. I will send the links to your DM. And that's pretty much what I can say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Enough talking from me. Let's hear from the superstar of the day, apart from these guys. Superstar, you're on the screen. Oh no, Brendan, don't freeze. Don't freeze, Brendan.
No. I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, you're moving again. Yay, I was concerned.
Yeah, I'm moving. Yeah, no. I was muted and then I was kind of like frozen looking at where I have to unmute. Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. For those of you who are watching this and may have heard my name and you may not necessarily know me well enough. I am Brenda Alicia Costa. I told myself lately the mind whisperer. Woo! Because I think the work I do, it's so powerful and it's like literally I can whisper to the mind so we can get everything in alignment. And I'll help you whisper into your mind so you can get things into alignment. I help leaders, executives and CEOs, specifically established business owners, reclaim their time, energy, health, and wealth so that they can become legendary leaders and build lasting legacies. I believe that we have two choices. We can either be one more leader, or we can be the leader that people like to follow, not only drives results but shows up as a legendary leader. So that's me in a nutshell. I'm a holistic, transformational, and breathwork coach. I do energy work. I'm a jack of all trades. I do a lot of integrative techniques, and I include them in my coaching program. So it's not like a traditional coaching program. So, with that said, I'll hand it over to you, Lisa.
Thanks so much, Coach Brenda Lees. Oh, you're really a jack of all trades. And we're really blessed to have you here because I know your time was, your schedule is very busy these days. So I'm really happy that we're here and on a LinkedIn Live where we could actually see the techniques you talk so much about. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Lisa Favec. I'm a dietitian, educator, author, and transformational coach for women's health issues, but I really focus on menopause. So that's perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. I call that your menopausal journey because we don't talk enough about it. It's still very taboo in certain areas, certain countries. We need to advocate for our own health. So I believe the best way to do that is through awareness, through education, so that you have the information you need to ask the right questions and get the supports that you need. And today we're talking about breathing, and really we're talking about stress, how to reduce those stress levels, because, well, we all have stress, right? But around the time of midlife and menopause, stress can be a real danger to our health. So I wanted to focus on, well, why we're talking about this in the first place, how it affects menopause and how menopause affects stress, and then talk about what we can do, some simple techniques we can do every day to reduce that stress. So menopause is a time where it's hormonal fluctuations, estrogen and progesterone especially are decreasing. And estrogen especially is important for many of our bodily functions. It helps with control of blood sugars, blood pressures. So when estrogen starts to drop, then we become at risk for heart disease and diabetes and cholesterol issues. Many women in menopause also experience anxiety, depression, some even suicidal thoughts. And you know, as women, we're juggling many jobs, we're doing many things where we have our day job, and then we have maybe children to take care of, or aging parents, maybe we have a partner to take care of. And we a lot of times put ourselves last. We put our self-care last because we're taking care of everyone else. And as those hormones start to fluctuate and drop, that's when the stress and chronic stress starts to kick in. We start sleeping badly. Maybe you're not sleeping at all. We have those physical symptoms, the hot flashes, the night sweats, the mood swings, the migraines. Brenda Lees and I were talking backstage. We talked about frozen shoulder. Frozen shoulder is something that many women now are starting to experience, or at least speak up about. And all of these things can increase our stress levels. So yes, there are medications we could take for it, supplements and those things. But I really try to do things from a more holistic approach, a more natural approach. Nothing wrong with medications. It's definitely needed when you need it. But I always like to start with diet and self-care techniques first as your foundation. And then if you need the medication, hopefully it's at a lower dose that you would need it at. So really want to focus on, well, why does breathing even matter in the first place, Brenda Lees? Because we all know how to breathe, right? We're breathing right now. So why talk about breathing, and I've listened to a lot of your lives, your posts. It's always, surrounding how to breathe. Why is that so important?
So I like to start by saying that breath is life. We would not exist without breath, right now. And even when a newborn comes into the world, what is the first thing the newborn does? They do a really deep inhale, and then they hold their breath, and then they bring that life in into their body, right? So if we leverage our breath the way that we can, it can actually serve us and create longevity in our lives. It can actually help us manage stress. It can help us uh, with certain medical conditions. It can help us be able to sleep better. It can help us uh, even give us energy, which is kind of funny, right? Because a lot of people rely on the famous coffee, myself included. I drink coffee every morning, but there's different techniques that can actually be used to give you that spurge of energy, for which you don't actually need the caffeine drip, let's put it that way. The important part is that if we have the correct habits of breathing, it can actually give us more vitality and freedom from disease, right? Which is something that we live in this world. In this world, disease is everywhere, and we can even go on that path of talking about what's the origin of disease, but we're not going to go that path. But yes, uh, there's so much correlation between having a better quality of life and leveraging your breath to do that. So, one thing that I like to explain to people is that when you're inhaling, your heart rate is increasing. When you're exhaling, your heart rate is decreasing. And this is the what I like to explain to people. So, if you consciously and intentionally adjust that inhale to make it longer than your exhale, then you're on purpose building more energy in your body. Now, if you do shorter breath, it could be inhale and exhale, but you're doing them shorter, you're also pumping up your body. You're providing energy. Now, it people may say, but that's what happens when we're on flight and fight and all of that. Yes, but we're doing it intentionally. We're not gonna go like half an hour or so, or we're not gonna go the whole day breathing that way. We are just intentionally doing the breath to give us an immediate result, right? So that's why it's breath work, because breath work is intentionally managing your breath so you can get certain specific results. So now think about it the other way. If you make that exhale longer, now you're lowering your heart rate. Now you're calming your body. So that's why it's really common to see techniques that have, and I'll give you a quick example of this. Could be 5-15, right? You're inhaling on the count of 5, you're exhaling on the count of 15. You're making that exhale long enough to lower your heart rate and calm your body. Now, at the same time, what happens if you don't do either or? You're just doing half and half, meaning you're doing the inhale and the exhale the same length. Now you're balancing your nervous system. You're not just relaxing it, but you're balancing your nervous system. And this is where techniques like heart coherent breathing are extremely important, like the 5-5, which is you basically go and inhale on the count of 5 and exhale on the count of 5. And we're going to practice it later. And you do it continuously. Now the inhale and the exhale are the same length. And that's a balancing. So you may have heard me talk about coffee, whiskey, and water techniques. So that's the same concept. So the coffee is to give you that pump of energy, coffee techniques. The water techniques are techniques you can use through the day just to balance your nervous system. And then you can use the whiskey, or I like to call it chamomile tea techniques, because I don't necessarily drink whiskey, but I do like my chamomile tea. So my tea techniques are for the evening, which are the techniques to help you relax and basically be able to disconnect and go to sleep. A very common one, you may all have heard it, is the 478. And we're going to talk about all of this in a bit. But the essence of it is it's intentionally handling your breath so you can achieve a specific state. I know I love to talk, so I can keep on talking like forever, but I just I just want to hand the mic back to you, Lisa.
That's okay. That's why you're here. You're the expert. I don't mind at all. So yeah, we are experiencing technical difficulties. So I'm having to use different screens. The comments aren't really coming up on StreamYard. So let me just say hi to people who I'm seeing in the comments. And so if you're here, please leave a comment so that we know you're here. Hi, Noni, my nan to gosh, you see, I'm Ruti and she's Nan. That's a long story. Don't worry about it. Hi, Felipe. Hi, Dr. Marcia. Hi, Shola. Glad you're here. Hi, Christine. Aspects of Aging talk show host. I was on a show a couple of weeks ago for Galentine's, a really lovely show. Hi, Linda. Hi, Adrian. Jay, welcome. Hi, Nick. Trini, how are you going? Hi, Margaret. David, hi. I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome. Mariana, so lovely to have you all the way from Belgrade. I hope I haven't missed anybody who's here. Yeah, sorry for this. We're really having a lot of technical difficulties. And yeah, and Annie had to travel 6 hours to get to where he is now. So he's having some technical difficulties as well. So please excuse us. But Bernalise, you talked about that flight of fright.
Yes.
Flight or fight. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's a really important point because especially when you're going through menopause, that's what the hormones bring about. It raises your anxiety levels. So so sometimes I'm sitting at my desk just typing away, answering emails. I'm not doing anything stressful. And all of a sudden I feel that anxiety coming up. And why it's a problem is because when you are in that state, everything else sort of shuts down. So your cortisol levels raise and it directs blood to the areas where it needs it for that fight or flight. So it moves it away from like your digestive system, for example. So a lot of times, let's say you're working on a project or you're doing something and you're trying to eat at the same time, it's not really the best choice because your body's in that fight or flight mode and somehow it's fighting to also digest food. So you're not going to digest properly. You're not going to absorb nutrients properly. And that could lead to nutritional deficiencies. And women in menopause already are prone to nutritional deficiencies, especially things like calcium, magnesium, and zinc. So we really want to focus on getting to that calm state before we do things like have a meal. And it may seem not very important. It may seem, okay, well, I'm eating, I'm breathing, what's the point? But when we're in that calm state, all of our body systems calm as well, and it does what it's supposed to do more efficiently. If we're always in that fight or flight mode, where we're always stressed, so our cortisol levels, our hormones are always on a high, then our body isn't going to be operating properly. And it also raises our risks for things like heart disease. And as soon as you enter into menopause, your risk for heart disease, and well, I should really say cardiovascular disease, because it's your heart and your blood vessels, your risk for that disease shoots up as soon as you enter into menopause. So we're really trying to find ways to reduce those stress levels so that the risk for heart disease, your risk or your likelihood of getting those diseases are less. So I love that you brought up that point. It may seem very trivial, but I know I'm saying menopause, but this is very applicable to men as well, right? All women will go through menopause. Some men go through male menopause called andropause, but it doesn't matter what stage of life you are at. And I know we have people with different age ranges in the audience. Doesn't matter the age range, doesn't matter where you are in the world. We all experience stress, and that will always put us at risk for things like heart disease. So we really want to focus on doing those techniques right where you are. You don't have to go anywhere to do it. You know, you're sitting at your desk, you're walking down the street. You can do those techniques right where you are. So I love that you brought that up. So sorry, you were going to say something.
No, keep going. I just said yes.
Okay. So you talked about different techniques for different situations. So I've heard you talk about like the box breathing, the 4-7-8. I've heard you mention the whiskey and the coffee. The coffee one I find interesting because it almost feels like as if you're hyperventilating, which people usually think is a bad thing. But as you said, it's intentional breathing techniques to achieve a certain goal. So how about we start with well, the ones that we're familiar with, the ones to calm us down.
So,
We're experiencing anxiety, or we're trying to reduce stress before we go to bed. What are the best things we should try?
okay. So let's start with bed. We want to go to bed. You want to literally down regulate your nervous system. You want to really relax. You want to allow your body to be able to rest. You want to be able to disconnect from your overthinking mind, which is the one that will keep you bringing back up, and then you have insomnia and all of these things. So you want to disengage from that. And this technique is the one I actually recommend, and even have a recording. So if anybody wants that recording, just send me a message and I'll send you the link to download it. Where you do this 4-7-8. So think of it this way: 4 inhales, 7 holds, and then basically 8 exhale. So what does this mean? You're inhaling on the count of 4, you're holding your breath for the count of 7, and you're exhaling for the count of 8. Think about the inhale and the exhale. The exhale is basically twice as long as that inhale. Now you're allowing your heart rate to lower. Now you're allowing your body to tap into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest system, right? So a beautiful part of this technique is that most people who actually practice this technique, within 1 minute, they usually fall asleep. Just by doing the 4-7-8, within 1 or 2 minutes, you're like literally gone, because you're basically so present in your body, so focused on the counting and the holding and the exhaling, that you can disconnect. Your system really lower, like shuts down, but not in a bad way. Shuts down meaning from all the stress, and goes into a relaxation stress. So this is a really great one to do. Now, because it's 4-7-8, like the way I like to do it is when I'm laying down, I basically take one hand, my left hand, and you can choose whichever hand you want, and I'm just tapping in the bed with my fingers, like 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you can tap into the bed like this, like 1, 2, 3, 4. So that way you're slowing the count and you're focusing on the count. And then on the hold, you can actually do it with your toes, because you're in bed laying down. So you can actually do it with your toes, move your toes. And then for the exhale, I do the opposite arm. the opposite hand. I do the tapping, but with the opposite hand. So now I remember to do kind of like a triangle type of, and it helps me. I don't know if it will help each one of you, but it's a great way. Another way is guided breathing. When you do guided breathing, oh my God, I can't get the words out today. When you do guided breathing, you can actually just allow yourself to follow the instructions. And for a lot of people, it's much easier. So, my advice as a breathwork coach is don't get yourself too riled up to do or motivated to do 15 minutes of breathing, like of a box breathing or heart coherence. Start slow, do 1 minute at a time, and then the next day you might do a minute and a half, and then like you start to increase little by little, because what you're doing by doing that is you're creating muscle memory. And I've been following a lot of posts where people are talk about life hacks and hacking your system and all of that. I'm a life hacker. I go around finding different techniques that work for me, and then I take those techniques and I make them mine, right? Through practice, through repetition. I allow myself to learn them, to make the conscious unconscious, and when I need them, they're there. And this is what happens with breathing. You can be here. I can tell you about the 478. But if you don't practice it, the day that you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't go back to sleep, you're not going to remember to do it. But if you practice your 478 and your body knows how it feels and you know how it feels, you're anchoring that feeling into your body. When you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't go back to sleep, now you know, like this, that you can actually tap into the technique, and now it becomes not just a hack but a habit and a practice and something that it's a behavior for you. So that's my encouragement is, just because you're hearing them here today, don't just stop there. Allow yourself to do the practice. And if you need help doing the practice, come to the breathing lab. We'll help you.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, first, if you're not connected with Brenda Lee's, not sure why, but this is your opportunity to do so, because she is amazing. She knows what she's talking about. People trust me. And if you get an opportunity to join her breathing lab, please do so. Follow her page. Please put the links, Brenda Lee, so when you get a chance after the show.
I will. And I have
I
a special pricing today. So,
oh
yes.
yes, very. But I love what you talked about, building that habit. I think, and I see that in many of my clients, they would hear you talk about the technique. They will try it once, twice, and give up. It's not working for me. All of these things take time. One, two, you have to let your body sort of give up control and let it see if it works. It may not work, right? You may have to try another technique, but you'll only know that if you give it some time. I love that tapping on the bed, because a lot of my clients, they have a lot of thoughts running through in the middle of the night, especially when they wake up. They can't quiet their mind. But that tapping allows you to focus solely on what you're doing, because you're focusing on the tapping, you're focusing on the counting, you're focusing on the breathing. It sort of removes extra space in your head, the noise, for all those extra thoughts. Now, they may still creep in. It takes time, because when I first started, I was like, okay, this is not working for me, because your thoughts were still running in your head, right? But after a while, you sort of give in to it, you got accustomed to it, it becomes a habit. And I like to build it into the sleep routine. So your body knows, okay, I'm going to turn down the lights, I'm going to take off the phone, I'm going to have a warm bath, I'm going to have my cup of tea, I'm going to lie down, and then so it knows the sort of sequence, and it knows, okay, now comes the breathing technique, I'm going to tap, I'm going to, practice that. So I think, if for people who are new to this, watch over the replay if you're not sure, of course, but really give it some time. Give it like a week, maybe a month. And if it doesn't work, okay, it doesn't mean anything is wrong with you, and it doesn't mean you did it wrong. It just is not what's working for you. And there's so many other breathing techniques out there. And the breathing lab is, I think, a place where we could go to find it, to find out what works for us.
I wanna add that there's more techniques like this one. So where you have the longer exhale. My favorite, well, I love the 478. It's a technique I have been using for a very long period of time because when I had my head trauma, neck injury, cervical fusion type of experience, um, I went nights and nights without sleep, and I was getting very anxious. And I remember one night, my husband basically he's just like, "You're hyperventilating, Brenda, right now. You're so anxious and you're so desperate that this is like it's not gonna get you anywhere." And he just sat next to me. I think it was like 3 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning, and we were just breathing. And he was just slowing, like he was like, "We're gonna slow down the breath." And that's when I started to research breathing techniques to help me with the sleep. And then the 478 actually came in because, and I practice it and everything. Shh, people are hearing you. And it's been an amazing technique. Now, another one that I love, it's the 515 or the, and I like this one because this one is really good. For the 515, let me do that one first. Give me 1 second. Thank you. Okay, so he keeps they're eating outside, so he wants to be where the food is, right? So the 515 is the same thing. You're inhaling on the count of 5, you're exhaling on the count of 15. If you can't do that one from the first, you know, try, what I encourage people to do is do 5 first for a minute or for 2 repetitions, right? Then do 5-10 for a minute and then do 5-15. And as you're getting used to, then you can increase. So you can do it one after the other, where you do the 5-5-5-10 and then 5-15. And it's a 5-minute practice, but then you're gradually doing that exhale increase, not all at the same time. Another one that I like, that it's similar to what I just explained, is that when you do the oh gosh, 2 4 2 2 4 6, and then you do the okay, the 4 6, and then the 3 6. Sorry, oh my god, I can't get them right today. And then you do the 4-8. So that way you're also gradually increasing. So you inhale for the count of 4, exhale for the count of 8, inhale for the count of 3, exhale for the count of 6. Do that a couple of times. And then you do inhale for the count of 4, exhale for the count of 8, inhale for the count of 4, exhale for the count of 8. And then you can go to 5-10, 6-12. You can go as high as you can. But this is a great practice to help yourself build that lung capacity.
And that helps with relaxation, or is
Yep.
that as just
That's
okay?
a relaxation full technique. All of these are the whiskey techniques, the
Okay,
relaxation techniques.
okay.
Um,
Let me
now,
just
go ahead.
oh, I was just going to say hi to some people because I saw a comment that was interesting. So hi, Dr. Vivian, nice to have you here. Hi, Alison. Uh, I'm seeing Hanum. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. And there's a new face. Welcome. But I have a comment from Christine, the Aspects of Aging talk show host. She said the breathing technique, she was having a conversation with Nick, and she said the breathing technique was part of a recent episode of the new Matlock show. She became anxious to the point of a health emergency, and her husband led her through metered breathing over the phone. So so the breathing techniques you're talking about, is this something that the whole family should do? Is it something safe for children? What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would say it's safe for children. Where I get a little bit more like just careful is with the techniques that are more for the coffee and like where you do the more hyperventilating to energize. With kids, it's a little bit harder. So I would start with the relaxation technique before going to bed. Like, let's do the routine for going to bed. Let's do the 4-7-8. And kids have a blast doing them. And the more you practice it with them, the day that they're anxious, and I have a really cool story about this, the day that they're really anxious, they will know how to use it. You don't need to be next to them because they practice it so much that they know how to use it. There was one winter we were in New Jersey. My husband, for those of you who don't know, when he was 31, he was hit by a trunk of a tree that he was doing a pull up. The trunk fell in his head, caused an arterial dissection, and he had 2 strokes at the age of 31. He's alive, he's well, he's good. And the reason why I'm saying this is because fast forward to maybe this was like 4 or 5 years ago. There was a snowstorm and he was shoveling snow in the driveway. And he literally, my daughter is looking, she's standing at the door of the garage looking outside. And she can see her dad walking inside the garage. And as my husband is walking in, this tree branch that is like this massive tree branch that I think was probably like 12 feet long fell exactly where he was standing. And my daughter freaked out so much that she just basically like went on a panic attack. And she was dressed with the snow clothes and everything. She went directly to the bathroom and she just sat in the tub, put some music, started breathing, and then she pulled out a meditation because she was so stressed. Maya was probably like 7 at that time. And the reason why she was able to tap into that was because every night she would do this. We had certain YouTube videos that she would play that would help her with breathing techniques and with meditation. So why am I
Wow,
sharing
that's
this? Because it's all about practicing. It's all about moving through the uncomfort. So then day that you actually need to leverage the techniques, you can tap into them like this.
yeah. The time to study techniques is not when you're stressed. You need to practice it right now. Practice it when things are, quote unquote, normal, so that when you need it, it becomes almost like a reflex action. I was going to say that for kids, it must be really good before like exams, before a driving test, where situations where they usually become very anxious. I think it'll be great if more people knew how to do this.
I should do a breathing lab for kids. You gave me an idea right there, right now. At some point, it's coming, people. It's
Yeah,
coming just for
I
kids.
think it's
Just me
important. Yeah.
and kids.
Yeah, I think with the stress of just life and everything that's going on in the world, in the news and stuff like that, I think these techniques are what are gonna get us through those dark
So,
days.
what you're doing with these techniques is you're hacking your system. You're hacking your system to give you the results that you're looking to give. Now, ideally, if you really want to rebalance your nervous system, the idea is that you practice the techniques at least for 5 continuous minutes. However, don't expect to be in 5 minutes on day one. Take yourself through the experience, do 1 minute, and then it maybe add another minute or do 1 minute multiple times through the day. And then eventually you start to little by little expand. And yeah, it's about creating that muscle memory. Yeah. So that one that we talked about, it's mostly for that, like literally you're just activating your parasympathetic nervous system. Now, if you want to balance your nervous system through the day, this is the box breathing is a really good one. Now, people say, oh my God, but I get so confused with the box breathing. So I encourage you to just literally do it like this. Do it with your eyes open, and then do it where you're like going 1, 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, then 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale, then hold. So you're kind with your hand creating the box. If it, I don't need to do that because I close my eyes and I can go through the box in my eyes, in my mind eye. I bring a box in, like I can see myself going like this in a box, like inhale, hold, exhale, hold, inhale, hold, exhale, hold, and da da da. So if you can't, then like get a piece of paper and just go with a piece of paper and a pencil and create a box and go through the box and do it visually for the first couple of times until you get used to it. Then you can close your eyes or do a guided meditation.
So with that one, are you holding? Is it the same time? So you're breathing in for like 5 seconds, holding your breath for 5 seconds, breathing out for 5 seconds,
Mm-hmm.
then holding your breath again for 5 seconds. So is it the same time for each
Yes.
side of the box?
Yes. So what you're doing is you're basically inhaling for, and I don't recommend 5 at the beginning. Do 4. 4 count in, then hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 4, hold 4. So this would look something like this. Inhale slowly, 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4. In exhale 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4. Inhale 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4, and then hold 2, 3, 4. And you see what that I'm using my hands because I don't want to go like hold 2, 3, 4, exhale 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, inhale 2, 3, 4. I don't want to go fast. I want to pace myself. So by moving my hands like this, I'm actually pacing myself. Another technique that people use to pace themselves is they go like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So by just doing the movement through like this, you're basically inhale 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, exhale 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4.
I like all of those techniques that you're doing with your hands because, again, it focuses you on what you're doing. And as you said, quiets the noise in your brain. You can't be thinking about other things when you're doing stuff with your hands and focusing on your breathing. It makes it quite difficult to do. So I love that. And again, you're finding something that works for you. So
And this is what works for me, Lisa. This is how I've been like helping myself keep myself focused. Now, what works for me might look different for Lisa, might look different for Michelle, for Adrienne, for John, for the different people, right? So be playful, be creative, allow yourself to explore and find whatever works for you. If it is having a timer and looking at the timer and how the numbers change, and then you doing whatever works for you is what you'll do. There's actually some YouTube that actually shows you the ball going up and down. I have a couple of different things that I'm working on that are going to help you with the techniques. I think for the box breathing, I had it so it actually you can follow the box and you can actually do the breathing for 1 minute. And I think that 5-5, which is the heart coherence, also I have it recorded for 1 minute that you can actually follow. I'm going to be putting all of that into the Breathing Lab page. I'm going to be you're going to see a lot of more content in the Breathing Lab page. If you haven't followed it, I encourage you to do so. I just recently did this change last week. And what I want to do is basically be able to have a space that it's focused on the breathing, so that the other portion of the business, which is my one-on-one coaching and legendary leaders, doesn't get mixed up. So this way I can deliver the messages clear for each audience. And then on top of the Breathing Lab page in LinkedIn, I also have the Breathing Lab YouTube channel, which in the next week, or in the next 2 weeks, it's gonna get a additional bump of short videos that I'm working on. And then if you want to take it even further, then I recommend the Breathing Lab membership, which we have a special discount for you guys, where the first month is $1, and after that it's $25 a month. So there's options, and I know that I should leave this for the end, but I think it kind of flew naturally. There's options for everything. So if you want to just begin exploring, tap into the page and into the YouTube channel. If you're ready to do other things, then tap into the membership. Whichever you choose is the right one for you at this moment, right? Um, Something else I wanted to add is then, like, for example, if you think of the box breathing, right, and you think of the heart coherence, both of them are fall into the balancing, right? So the heart coherence, which is the 5-5, which if you have heard me talk about breathwork, you have heard me talk about heart coherence, because it's my favorite breathing techniques of all times. Because what you're doing with heart coherence, with that one, is you're balancing, you're creating a coherence between your heart and your mind. And this coherence, it could be 4-4, it could be 5-5, for some people it's 6-6. For the sake of the practices that I do, because I don't have the equipment to measure everybody's RTV, I think that's how it's called. I don't have the capability here to measure everybody's variable heart rate. I would say just focused on the 5-5, which is the average for the population. And that's basically you inhale on the count of 5, and then you exhale on the count of 5. So
And are you doing that slowly again?
yes, one inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, and then exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, and then inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale 2, 3, 4, 5.
So these techniques that you've been describing so far seems to be around relaxation and reducing stress. But you talked about the energizing part, and I know having energy during midlife and menopause is a struggle. A lot of us depend on multiple cups of coffee during the day, because we're not sleeping properly at night. We're not eating properly during the day because of all the things we have to do. And many of us are really struggling with that energy. So what are some of the breathing techniques we could do if we're looking for energy?
I'm just going to show you one really easy here,
Yeah.
which is basically you can do it just through the nose, in the inhale and the exhale through the nose, both. And then what you're going to do is you inhale really fast and then exhale really fast. So you're inhaling fast, exhaling fast. 2, 2. And that alone will bring you as upcharge of energy. Don't do it for an hour, but do it like for a couple of minutes. Now, I joke with all of this. I use some of these techniques in when we do somatic release, which is slightly different. We're talking about foundational breathwork techniques here today. However, there's an advanced level of breath work where you can use breathing really intentionally to move trauma out of your body. And those are somatic release breathing journeys. They are long, they are between 45 minutes to an hour. I did one, I think it was last month in January, for a group of people who are in a mastermind that I go every month, and I do the session. And it was about releasing the 5 trauma imprints that were basically born with them. And one of them includes separation, right? The imprint of separation. And that one was longer. That one was 1 hour and 5 minutes. It was a little bit more intense. These journeys are designed in a way where music, the words that I say and the words of the music and the intensity of the music play a role in the release work. And basically, you are sort of a little bit hyperventilating at the beginning, and we do that for a while. And for around 30 minutes of the journey, you're basically inhaling on the count of two and exhaling on a count of 1. So you're basically doing the inhale is longer than the exhale, and we're doing everything through the mouth, which is very different. And you kind of like feel that energy moving through your whole body. And when the time comes, we scream, we do breath holds, we do multiple different things through the journeys, and that allows that trauma that it's stored in your body to release your body. And I'll give you guys an example. I had one client, and this is when I was doing the certification. And I went crazy, and I was doing all these free journeys to the LinkedIn people. I was giving them away. And there was one person in LinkedIn, and I'm not going to say the person's name. This person had suffered sexual assault when they were very little. And they held into the trauma, even though they've done the therapy, they've done all the work, they still had a lot of trauma in their body stored in their hips. And they couldn't even, like, the movement of their hips was impacted. This is someone who is menopause age. And after the release work, during the release work, and during a somatic breathwork journey, she was able to release that trauma that was stored in her hips. And months after, she would even say, yeah, like, it's gone, like, it's completely gone, it's not there, I can move my hips again, like. And she felt it, she felt the change. So why am I sharing this? Because it doesn't matter where you are in the journey, there's something for you. And I went, before I became a certified coach and I started to do, the only technique I used to do a lot was the 4-7-8. But other than that, I would just do long inhales and long exhales. And after I did the breathwork certification, of course, I began to do all these crazy techniques, great techniques, amazing techniques. And I started to do the breathwork journeys for somatic release. And I'll tell you, I went from points where the pain was unbearable and I couldn't manage to being able to move my body after a session, because you're releasing that stored traumatic energy that it's stuck in your body, which is really powerful.
Yeah, I remember when you were doing those 15, 20-minute sessions in the morning, and how many people came on stage after it was the audio events and said how much relief they got just from a 15-minute audio events with you. So imagine if you were there for the hour and really getting all of it with you. That would be really incredible.
So the beauty of a somatic breathwork, and I'll tell people, is because our mind will try to play tricks, our critical thinking mind, right? Will try to play tricks on us. And then the shopping list comes up. And then, like, the things, oh, is this really gonna work? Is this not gonna work? Am I, like, oh my God, I feel like this is exhausting. I'm running a marathon. Am I really supposed to be here? So the first 8 minutes of all of these journeys, your mind is gonna be like that. You just focus on it intentionally, bring it back to your body, back to your breath. And by the time I tell people, it's usually the first 8 minutes. After the first 8 minutes pass, like, you just fall into like a trance state where your body automatically does the inhale and the exhale, and it's basically effortless. Some days it might take you more than 8 minutes. Some days in 8 minutes, you're already in tune. Some days you could be in tune quicker. It Every experience is based on where you are in that present moment. I've had breathworks where by the end of the session, I was like, oh my God, I don't feel like release that much. And I did actually release. And I've had sessions where I was so laser focused that the result at the end was incredible.
Yeah. So I'm using my phone to read the comments because my computer is doing something really weird. So just want to say hi to Georgia. Welcome. She made a comment. Tai Chi is also good for breath work.
Tai yoga,
Mhm.
Tai Chi yoga, and I know like even martial arts, like a lot of the techniques they use with counting, with the inhale and the exhale,
Yeah.
all of it incorporates breathing techniques into it.
Yeah. So while I was doing Krav Maga, as you said, martial arts, you had to breathe properly to get it done, and it all helps. I'm seeing
Mhm.
Leslie in the audience. Hi, Leslie. Um, Queen Leslie. uh, I think I got everyone. If I haven't, please forgive us. Technology is not being kind to us today. So, but if you have any questions, we have the experts here. Any questions, you can ask it in the comment section. I know Annie puts the StreamYard link in the comments as well, so you can feel free to join us in the studio. And I'm hearing chimes, and it reminds me of Divine.
Oh, that's my ring. Because I have the ring camera outside and I have it set up in two ways. One way is when people actually ring the bell, and another is that sounds like chimes, is when people approach or open the door. Like they don't have to press, like it senses
Yeah, yeah,
someone. Like let's say Amazon comes and delivers and they sense the Amazon
yes,
person. And like I'll know someone was at the door and I'll just go and take a look. So my
yeah.
daughter
Gosh,
said the
yeah,
dog
it
out.
reminds me of what she does.
Yes, yes,
Um,
yes.
yeah, I'm seeing Linda saying I'm enjoying this topic. I plan on incorporating breathwork into my daily routine, and I think that's something. No matter what stage of life we're at, really incorporating, even if it's as simple as the 478. And if you're confused about what I mean, please watch the replay. Brenda Lees does explain clearly what that means. Or please join and follow her breathwork breathing lab. She put the comments in the show notes after.
Yeah,
But
I'll
yeah,
put the
this is really important. Sorry, go on.
I'll, so I was gonna say I'll put the comments a couple of things. I'll put the breathing lab membership link there, and I'm actually giving you guys the discount of where you only pay $1 on the first month, and then every other month it's $25. That's founder's price. That's not gonna be the price forever, but it's a I decided I'm gonna leave it open for a couple of months, and then that the code for that is $1. So one, the word one and the word dollar together. So I'll put those in the comment section. I'll also include the YouTube channel, and I'll also include the LinkedIn page, because these are all resources. And actually, funny enough, it wasn't done intentionally, but I guess it was done in perfect alignment with the universe. Today, I put a post in the Breathing Lab page, um, that actually talks about taking intentionally 1 minute breaks. I remember coming back from my injury in 2016, coming back in 2017 to work. I was out for 6 months. And I remember that one thing I was becoming much more aware of what was happening in my body. And I remember there were points in time that I could actually catch myself not breathing, holding my breath. When there was a tough conversation, I could actually, I became really aware and I could identify immediately, oh my God, Brenda, you're holding your breath. And this is not good. So I started to put posts everywhere. Remember, just breathe. Remember to breathe. 1 minute breathing, to remind myself constantly through the day, not let that stress build up through the day and then become a very stiff and painful neck, but and shoulder, but allowed myself to be like more aware and present. And if you do intentional 1 minute where you set up your alarm clock in the phone, and you're basically just, it's like a breathing break, 2-3 minutes breathing break, and then it becomes a 5 minute breathing break. If you're working in an office environment, you can take a 2 minute break between meetings to breathe. You absolutely can. And even if you're going walking to their next meeting, when you're walking there, you can intentionally do the 5-5, which is inhale on the count of 5 and exhale on the count of 5. And if you do that, repeat it 6 times, because 5 seconds plus 5 seconds equals 10 times 6 is basically 1 minute. So all it takes is for you to repeat that technique 6 times, and you already did a minute.
Yeah, I think that's something we have to be very conscious of. That not breathing. I catch myself doing that a lot. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Lisa, you literally holding your breath. What's going on here? And those are the times I may be a little stressed or trying to finish something. And I just step away from the computer, maybe go stand by the window and let the light in on my skin. And just, take, like you said, it's a minute. You can't, everybody could take 1 minute and just calm down, focus on that breath. And, it's really incredible. I have a comments also from Leslie. She says, when my heart flutters and I have palpitations, and a lot of women in menopause have the same thing. So that's a common symptom as well. She says she does quick breaths, 2 quick breaths in through her nose and 1 exhale. She was asking if there's a name for that technique, or if you know what she's talking about.
So if
Quick
this
breath.
happens,
Good.
so in this case, if I understand her comment correctly, because I'm reading it too, so she's basically does a quick inhale and then exhale. Inhale and exhale. Right there, that's basically a balancing. You're doing, if you're doing the inhale and the exhale the same length, then that's a balancing. You're balancing your nervous system. That's perfect. If you're doing the other way around, which we are doing, the inhale is like, let's say, inhale and then you do the exhale slow, even slower, because you don't need to count that much. Like, all you have to make sure is, this is another
Yeah.
trick. If you want, just inhale and then make the exhale the same length. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. That alone is balancing.
Yeah, she was saying that it reminds her of Lamar's breathing.
Mm.
Yeah, and all of it is to calm the body, reduce that stress. So yeah, thanks for that, Leslie. We have a few minutes again, because I know it's very late in
Yeah,
England, and
I
any.
want to share one more thing, Lisa,
Yes,
if you
please,
allow me.
please.
So, and this goes perfectly with the topic of menopause. So, um, in December, and a couple of you may have seen my post where I was talking about my unbearable pain. So in December, I woke up one Friday and I couldn't move my left arm at all. Like, I couldn't even do this. Like, if I wanted to move slightly, it would take me like a minute just to do like this using my right arm just to move it, and I wouldn't even be able to put the other arm. Like, the pain was unbearable. It was very difficult. And then I found out it was a frozen shoulder. And then I found out that I had a condition that I might have needed a surgery. And I'm like, no, it's not going to happen. But why am I sharing this? Because the 6 intense days of pain, which for a lot of people, it's more than 6 days, I was able to lead by example and apply the knowledge I have in terms of healing, energy work, breathing, like everything you can imagine. I was like trying anything and everything because it was so hard. But I remember I fainted twice, and my husband had to like remind me, do what you do with your clients, breathe, Brenda, let's breathe together. And a big portion of it was just allowing myself to focus on the breathing. Sometimes the pain was so bad that I couldn't even do that. But that's where I say it's a balancing act between the Western and the Eastern medicine, right? Because then I would leverage the painkillers to allow me to at least be able to allow my mind to focus on these techniques. And then by day 6, I was like not lifting my arm like this, but like it was a night and day experience. Like I wasn't relying on painkillers. I could go through the day without painkillers. And I remember I still did the steroid shots. I still did a lot of the the I did the balancing act between both the Western and the Eastern. But I remember that by the time I went to the doctor, by the time I started physical therapy, the therapist was like, 2 weeks ago, you couldn't move your arm. And I'm like, yeah, no, 2 weeks ago, I couldn't move my arm at all. And he was like, oh my God, like, it's so incredible to see how, like, you've been able to shift it so fast. Because a lot of people, it takes them 6 months, a year, and sometimes they don't even gain their movement back at all the way they used to be. So, why am I sharing this? Because yes, life happens, the struggle is real, but we have a choice of letting the struggle drive our life, or we have a choice of doing what we need to do to move through the struggle and go through the tunnel and get to the other side.
Yeah. And I love that you share that because, well, one, frozen shoulder is a very common symptom
Mhm.
during menopause. So, if you're experiencing that, yes, it can be extremely painful. Most people require physiotherapy to get through it and to have it manageable. And definitely, we're both holistic coaches. We like going natural, of course, but we're definitely not anti-medication. There's some times where you need medication. If you're, you may have heard me say this many times on these programs. There are over 100 symptoms that you can experience on your menopausal journey. A lot of it is physical symptoms that will have you in pain, in real pain, where you can't get out of bed in the morning. So things like hormone replacement therapy and pain medication, pain medication for depression, anxiety, can give you your quality of life back. So if you're in your bed and you don't feel like getting out, you can't go to work, then those are things that you should explore with your doctor because you want to get your quality of life back. But while you're on those medications, then you employ other techniques. So like working with Brandelise to get those breathing techniques in. Because yeah, I've seen it, I've experienced it where the trauma actually moves and leaves. And a lot of things come up that you don't even realize was walking around with you as baggage until you start doing that work. So
And that's what happened to me. Like,
yeah,
that one side is the masculine, the other side is the feminine. So if the frozen shoulder was on the right side, then that's more related to career, to that hustle type of
yeah,
energy. And then because it was on the left side, it was more on the feminine side, right? Then it's more about like my relationship with my mom and like
yes,
childhood things and blah blah blah. And I
yeah,
remember on day 6, I said to myself, I'm not allowing this shit, and I'm saying it this way because it was shitty. I'm not
yeah,
allowing this shitty pain literally dictate my life. I'm gonna focus on healing today completely. And I remember I went through. I'm part of a group of people that we do a lot of healing to each other. So I went to like a lot of healing circles that day, and I think I probably received like healing energy probably more than 5 or 6 times combined with the breathing techniques. And there was one person that said, okay, let's have a phone call. Let's get you on a call. And he did back to me what I do with my clients, which is the wound healing, which is basically going to the root cause, identifying what's the root cause, and releasing it. It doesn't have, it's not that hard. Like I went to the call with him, and 1 hour and 30 minutes after, I was walking out of that call with a smile in my face. I had not smiled in 6 days. I I like tears were rolling down my cheeks all day long because the pain was unbearable. So in reality, our body has the capability of healing. Now, would I have been able to do that if my pain was at 20, like I felt at that time all the time? Probably not, because I couldn't get out of my conscious mind, right? So the key is combine the methodologies in a way that you allow your body to be able to tap into that perfect health blueprint that we all have access to. And it's wonderful. There was one more thing I wanted to share, and I just totally forgot, but that's okay.
While you're thinking, I just want to remind people, and this is the importance of working with good coaches and the right coach. And if you're going through menopause, or you're not sure if you're going through menopause, or you're struggling with symptoms, this is the time to reach out and get support. It's not healthy to walk around with chronic stress from symptoms and you're busy taking care of everyone else and you're putting yourself last. Let this year be the year that you put yourself first, put that oxygen mask on yourself first. And gosh, my throat is starting to crack. But really focus on yourself and your self-care and being the best that you can be so that you can be your best for everyone else.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so please connect with Brenda Lee's. Like I said, I've seen it firsthand. She's worked with me. It works. And she, like she said, she's worked on different techniques for different situations. So please connect with her. If you're struggling through menopause, please connect with me. Let's have a conversation. We will leave our contacts in the show notes, in the comments. We will answer any questions that we didn't get to because technology is not being kind. The comments are not showing up. So we'll go back in and answer. Tomorrow, I will post a newsletter for the key takeaways from this session so that you have it in writing now. So you can see how to do the techniques, come back to this replay, watch how to do the techniques, and really try, focus on you, focus on your quality of life, focus on getting back to quote unquote normal.
Yeah, I'm looking to post now the links. So you'll have the links. It'll take me a bit, but yes, you're going to have access to the different things and you can choose what works for you. Yeah. So right there, I'm posting the YouTube channel. I'll post the other ones as soon as we finish.
Yeah, thanks for that. And thanks so much for giving of your time to be with us today. We're really blessed by that. Thank you, Annie, for working in the background. After traveling for 6 hours to get to London, and sending love and prayers to Paulette for a full recovery. I know she's not feeling 100%. She's usually a co-host as well. So sending love and support to you, Paulette. We miss you tremendously. I really miss my sister. Hi, Annie. You're back with us.
We do. I've been here all the way through. The only thing is that I can't see the comments.
You.
I can't see the comments here, so that's why I can't put them on screen.
Yeah, we've been reading them on our phones, but we will get to them after the show. We will answer any questions that we didn't address if there anything that we missed.
Excellent. Great insight into breath work. I was talking to someone yesterday, and I guess they were telling me how important it is to breathe. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of important. I think it's something that we don't learn. I said, the person I was talking to yesterday was in the context of running. And so he went jogging, and literally he's like, I can't breathe properly. I'm like, I know. Most of us can't breathe properly. We think we can. We just think it's a natural thing. We just think we breathe every day, so we must know what we're doing. So I think it's an important skill to learn. So I value your inputs, Brenda Lee.
Yeah, I would encourage people to follow the Breathing Lab LinkedIn page, because there's gonna be a lot of posts coming up, and even the YouTube channel coming up about yeah, scientific data. There's a lot of scientific data that shows that people are not breathing correctly, and the impact that this actually can have into people's longevity. So it's like, if you want to get, like, I'm in a point in my life where I just want to grow old in a way that I can embrace my life. I do look younger than what I am. I'm gonna be 50 soon. So like, I'm in a point where from this point forward, it's all about having quality of life and being able to enjoy my life, right? Without being a victim of like disease or anything like that. So for me, I know that breathing can actually help you in collaboration with, of course, good eating habits and exercise and all these things. Yeah, it can actually help you.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna need a birth certificate for you, Brenda Lees. I cannot believe you're gonna be 50.
Woo!
Yeah, I'm not trusting that.
You don't prove that I'm gonna be.
No.
How close to
come
50
on.
is she? I think
Yeah,
25 is
no.
close to 50, right? Depending how you look
No,
at it.
I'm not 25.
No, I would say 30s, not 50, but
No, I am 48. I'll be 49 in July, and next year on 2026 I'll be 50. Proud.
yeah. But please connect if you're not connecting with us. And in next 2 weeks we'll be back for another topic related to menopause, where we're going to share insights and education and supports that you may not get anywhere else. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for leaving the comments. Thank you, Annie, for always being in the background. You could go sleep now after your long drive. I really appreciate you all.
It's not sleep, it's dinner. I need to eat. I'm starving, Lisa. I'm starving. I need to find
Gosh,
food.
okay.
I don't know where.
Yes, it's dinner time for me too, and I need to take some meds. So let's thank you again, and I will see you all next 2 weeks. Take care, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Yes,
Bye,
thank
everyone.
you.
I'll play the music we started off with. I haven't done the end one.
Every step forward is a new beat to your drama. She's success with Global.Media.com and celebrate it with or without champagne or rum. She's success with Global.Media.com. Every step forward is a new beat to your drum. She's success.